Wyndham is Australia's fastest growing region. This area, which includes Wyndham Vale, Point Cook, Lavender North, Tarneit and Truganina, added more than 34,000 people between 2019 and 2022, for a total population nearing 309,000 residents. I'm in Wyndham's most popular suburb, Werribee. According to Wyndham City, more than 50,000 people now live in Werribee in 18,500 households. That's a 25% increase in less than 10 years. So why is this area growing so fast? I want to discover the reasons for such rapid growth and find out if that growth is sustainable. I bet you've been told Werribee stinks, right? The answer is yes. There is a pungent stench in the air, although it's more desirable these days. Walking Watton Street, the aroma of coffee is what hits you, not that other brown substance. Brunswick-style cafes are everywhere in Werribee. Throw in some street art and it's proof gentrification is underway. The river, the rustic bushland, the wildlife. I know this feels like a reconnecting with myself weekend away, but Riverbend Historical Park is less than 5 k's from downtown Werribee. Imagine waking up to this every morning. But how can the river be used? And is urbanisation damaging this waterway? Lisa Field from the Werribee River Association is going to tell me in her tandem kayak. Lisa, this is a beautiful resource you've got on your doorstep.
Agreed. It certainly is. It's enormous.
It's amazing.
Such habitat and shade.
Is kayaking something anyone can do as long as they've got a kayak? You don't need a permit, or is it?
No, you don't need a permit. Just need a life jacket.
It's amazing to think when you're kayaking it like this and how beautiful it is that a couple of decades ago it was a bit of a dumping ground. I've read stories that there were disused cars thrown in here and obviously all sorts of rubbish. How have you, the association, fixed that over the years?
Well, you're not wrong. I mean, the river used to be massively infested with weeds and soil erosion. The whole urban development situation back in those 70s and 80s wasn't done in a way which was of great care.
Is that where the association started, or is there history longer than that?
It definitely came in at that sort of point. The Werribee River Association started in 1981, and the members were very active at writing letters to the different authorities. So their concerns and their letters were quite well received by the local government, and I think they started to work together.
Yeah, right.
You know, this is before the conservation movement actually started, and before land care was activated.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What about urbanisation? Because when you read any article or look at any statistic, and Wyndham is the fastest growing region in Australia.
Yeah.
So is that giving you problems in terms of water quality and stability? Is it any intact?
I'm sure the urban planning system has improved, but especially in our older areas, all the stormwater runs into the river. And it's not a lot of protection on that stormwater in those older areas. In the newer areas, they are making those sort of stormwater catchment basins to collect and filter naturally. All new developments attract a lot of litter, a lot of construction waste, and you just can't stop that stuff blowing around.
So how are you educating people who are living here, the residents and local authorities and businesses and whoever has, whoever is impacted by the river daily, that they need to take better care of this amazing resource that they've got?
Some of it's in schools or kindergartens, handing out colouring in sheets, even about stormwater, trying to get people to connect with the river and the animals. But we also take people on guided walks, develop brochures to let them know about, all the different places you can visit along the river, because some people are new to this community. They don't really know about the river. There's the traditional education, and then there's the immersive one, like getting people on the boats. Families just love that sort of stuff. I think also just offering all the litter and land care activities is another way for people to learn about the river. So people come to clean-up days, and we host dozens of those per year.
And that's well received by people? They're keen to help?
I think so. People want to do direct action. Sitting down and just listening to learning sort of content can be a bit dry and boring.
Yeah. It's amazing to think that, we're going along this massive resource here, and what is it, maybe 100 metres over the bushes here, people are living there. in some quite nice houses. Imagine having this just right here.
I love living right next to this river here. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that.
Having a river like this, somewhere I can get out each day and enjoy, it's just so calming. Yeah, the health benefits are immense. You know.
Do you think there's still a tarnished image of Werribee? Like people who don't live here, live closer into the city or on the other side, they don't appreciate what Werribee is now?
So people who are Melbourneians from the east side might harbour that view, but Wyndham has a hugely multicultural community. None of them know about that tarnished image. They just think it's fantastic. So in fact, the vibe is much more about, yeah, this is a great place. It doesn't smell like it used to. So I think the tarnished image days are gone. You know, it's a growing community with a lot of growing facilities to meet that demand. One of the positives about Werribee is the community. They're like, you know, if you want to get involved in community projects, association clubs, they are available. And there's lots of community spirit behind all those pubs. Just like the River Association, do something good, be connected, have a sense of purpose. There's lots of ways to get involved. So I feel like we're a bit like a country town, you know. There's a lot of places you can get involved in.
Filipinos outnumber the Vietnamese in Australia. It's hard to believe given that entire suburbs are dedicated to Vietnamese food and culture. So where does the larger, yet more reclusive Filipino community congregate? Werribee. It's not difficult to find Filipino restaurants and grocery stores in this part of the world, so I want to mukbang some meaty goodness like sisig and sweet spaghetti, and I'm doing that with Filipino storyteller Anna Manuel. But she's vegan, so buggered if I know what we can actually eat.
Anna, talk me through the food here, because this one, sweet spaghetti, I reckon every poor nonna who's deceased would be turning into a grave at the thought of bolognese with sugar. How is that a thing?
Has an interesting history and intersecting with Filipino resourcefulness. Instead of using tomato sauce, we use banana ketchup.
Banana ketchup, that's a massive thing over there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it was actually a Filipino invention. The food technologist, actually, Maria Rosa, she invented the banana ketchup because we had a surplus of bananas. So why import tomato sauce while we have bananas all over the country?
It's very industrious, isn't it? That's kind of your people, really, isn't it? It's start from nothing and build something from there.
It is. And we also found, beef mince is expensive, but we extend that by using sliced hot dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about this one.
Yeah.
Because there's no point, because it's vegan, right? How is that in a country of what's the population of the Philippines? It's 300 million plus, isn't it? You must be the only vegan in the entire place, right?
20 years ago, it felt like that. But of course, when I started becoming vegan, I learned a lot from the Buddhist groups in Manila. You know, like how do you veganize Filipino dishes? When you put your mind to it, you can veganize a lot of Filipino dishes.
You know, I've got to say too, that's probably the only Filipino dish I've ever seen with vegetables in it. That's another thing. Like, is it unfair? Is it wrong to think that Filipino cuisine is meat, sugar, and carbs, and not much else? Is that too simplistic?
Yeah, I would say it's an overgeneralization of sorts because it's really hard to put a finger on what Filipino cuisine is. Right? Because we're so diverse. We've got, over 7,100 islands. And you could probably say like every village, every neighborhood would have their own version of a dish, right? And so when I was growing up, I think I was lucky too because my mom cooked really well and she gave us different flavors. She used to cook like stews, soups with a lot of meat and a lot of vegetables as well.
So what is this one?
This is called
the vegan version of?
The vegan version of pancit bihon.
Pancit bihon.
It's rice vermicelli. And this is largely influenced by Chinese, Filipinos, because we have a big Filipino-Chinese community. And we even have the biggest and the oldest Chinatown in the world.
Right. Other thing I'm fascinated with when it comes to Filipino people, Filipino culture is in Australia, it's almost impossible to find. But we have entire suburbs that are built around Vietnamese migration, but there's actually more Filipinos in Australia than the Vietnamese. Are you reclusive? Are you shy? Or do you just don't want to put yourself out there? You're not interested in letting other people in? What is it? Like, well, why can't I walk down a main street other than Werribee and find examples of Filipino culture and food? It's very difficult.
I think there's not one answer to that. Like, from my point of view, Filipinos are great chameleons. So in any immigrant society, anywhere in the world, we blend in very easily.
Why is there that natural inclination to do that? I'm certainly not suggesting it's wrong.
Yeah.
It might be a humbleness of the people, but why are you not a bit more vibrant, a bit more out there?
It would be interesting to say, like we're known to be really good performers, but at the same time, we have this side of us where we don't want to stand out. We don't want to stand out because we don't want to be target.
Yeah.
And I guess you can think about it, like you can trace it back in our colonial history, when if you stand out, you will be a target.
Do you think that needs to change, or you're all okay with it being the way it is? Yeah. I mean, you live in Australia, you've been here for a number of years now, you are Australian. But do you ever look around and think, geez, it would be nice to see some of my culture on display?
Yeah, I think it would be good. We add a lot of value to a multicultural society like Australia. And I've been seeing a lot more Filipino restaurants popping around the city and across Melbourne. And I think it just needs, it takes time. When someone starts it, then you feel more safe. Like, okay, I can do that too.
There's one dish I haven't tried yet. What is that? And why can't you have it? What meat is in there?
Okay, now this is
really?
called sisig. If you have it in the Philippines, you would use lemons. You will use the local lemon.
What? See, I've done my research. You know what? They're actually beautiful. I've had them over there in a drink.
Oh, calamansi
Very,
juice.
very nice.
Yeah. Okay, this is meat that has gone through a lot.
Meat? Filipino cuisine? No way.
So it's boiled, broiled, and grilled.
Oh, okay.
So this dish originated in Pampanga, a region in the Philippines, where there used to be an American military base. And so the cooks had to make food for the soldiers stationed in that region. And they only chose the best parts of the pigs, the chicken. And the resourceful butchers and market stall vendors probably have thought, like, what do we do with the other parts, the unwanted parts of the meat? And so people started making a dish out of the unwanted meat.
It goes back to that industrious mindset, doesn't it?
Yes.
Turn something
And I
out of
think
nothing.
you are eating a pig's face.
Is that right? Okay, that kind of changes it a little, but you know what? It's delicious. I don't care. It's nice.
And in the Philippines too, like we would put mayonnaise to top it all
No.
up. Yep. And we would,
I'd try it
yeah,
with a bit of mayo on there.
maybe from deluxe level, it's gonna go to, I don't know, supreme.
Over the top? No, sure. Supreme? Yeah, no worries. We go with that. It is right. Why do you think Werribee's become a hotbed of Filipino cuisine and culture?
It's the accessibility of Werribee, the space, and community. What anchors a lot of Filipinos here is the community. Like you would have a huge Filipino grocery.
Yeah.
You have these types of restaurants which are, like it really reminds you of home. And you've been to the Philippines a few times, and the sights, the smells,
Yep.
sounds. When
Noticed it as soon as I walked in that door here. I'm like, yeah, I've been in this place over in Manila. Yeah, it's you're an inner city gal. You like the bright lights, the big smoke. Would you ever consider relocating out to a place like Werribee?
maybe not in the near future, because I like walking. But I guess like eventually, like when I'd like to like walk left and have my own garden, have our own garden, my husband and I, then yeah, this is a consideration. Yeah.
When did Werribee become a thing? It's debatable, but the discovery of gold in 1851 led to Melbourne becoming the richest city in the world at the time. The population boomed, and so too did unsanitary waste disposal methods. Chamber pots were emptied into the street and ran into waterways, turning them into open sewers. And you wonder why the Yarra is the colour that it is. To solve the problem, Werribee was chosen to house a sewage farm. Dr. Monika Schott wrote a book about Cocoroc Township, and she's showing me around this former thriving community.
Monika, you're walking me to a bare open field. Where are we going? What are we doing?
This whole paddock was covered in houses. This was the top end township, yep. In here there was a school, a church. Between the two trees was the old community hall.
So it's quite built out as opposed to what it is now.
Yes.
Was there stigmatism around that to the outside community, to people who didn't understand, they didn't know? And if there was, how did the locals deal with that?
So the community began in 1893. That's when the first homes were built here for the workers and their families. This place, the Metropolitan Sewage Farm, was quite removed from Werribee, let alone from Melbourne. But right from the early days, I think I have an article from 1889 where a journalist in The Age wrote about this place as this evil-smelling precinct.
Who would have thought of someone from the media not being accurate?
Well, it continues. The stigmatism started right from the very beginning.
But how did that affect the people who were living here, who had to deal with it every single day? You know, they go to the outside community. I've read stories of the football team going to another suburb and playing there and just being absolutely abused over the fence because they came from this place that used to stink.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that must have had an impact on them.
Every time I've spoken to them, they would say that they had the last laugh because this was their utopia. This was, you know, their oasis where they were free to do what they wanted. They had food and water, you know, during the times of the Great Depressions, economic downturns, when people were losing their jobs, they had no money, no food. There was an abundance of food here. And
not a bit ironic when everyone is trying to get back to that lifestyle now that used to exist here, and you know, a lot of people just used you for having it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this big structure here. I'm assuming this is the water tower. It seems to have kept in pretty good condition over there.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it is listed in the Heritage Register. It was built in 1854 to supply water to Melbourne. So this was Melbourne's first water supply. And so it provided water to Melbourne for 3 years, and then Melbourne's water system was connected to Yan Yean, so it stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
How much water did that take?
There's a plaque around the corner.
Okay.
Should we go and have a look?
Let's go and have a look. So, Monika, I can see there that was 682,000, maths is not my strong suit, I'm a creative, litres of water in this structure. So there we go, we have an answer on that. But what is inside it now? Or what was even inside it back in the day?
Well, when it was working as a water tank, there are huge pumps in there, and the structures are really quite beautiful. They've been cleaned up and it looks really stunning. Then when it wasn't used for so many years, it became a storage kind of centre. And once everyone left, you know, I think the community began to disband in the 1970s. And so then they began to clean out underneath. And now we haven't got a key to get in, but inside here is this beautiful clean space that they've turned into an exhibition space.
This could be hired out by an artist or a community group or whatever it is. Yeah, right.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Now, I know that there is a swimming pool on site. It's 35 degrees. I hope there is water in it. Can we go and see it? Monika, that is the pool, is it?
It is the old pool.
That is not what I was expecting, nor what I was wanting on such a hot day.
No, that's right. So this pool was built in 1942 during World War II. And the really cool thing about this pool is that residents went to management and said, you know, the war restrictions mean we can't go for a swim, it's hot, we can't go to the foreshore, we can't go to the river. And we know that a pool is going to be built as part of this model township concept. We'll volunteer our labour to build it if you can supply the materials. And management said, no, we'll build it. And so they built it quite quickly. It was the first pool here. It was here way before Werribee's pool was built. And a lot of Werribee people came in here to swim. Even the Werribee Primary School brought their kids in here to learn how to swim. So that was cool. Right. But this first part was the wading pool, and then the second part was the deeper end where the older kids and adults would swim. And it was just a couple of years ago, really, when it was filled in. It had been empty for so long, and it was filled in to be turned into this rain garden.
Rain garden.
Yeah.
Very dry to me. I mean, Sure, it's not raining, so maybe it's full bloom then, but you've obviously got your book about this place here, but you live in Werribee as well, and you have for 40 years. So what would you like to say to those people who still think that, from the suburbs probably on the other side, who haven't been here, they don't understand, they don't get Werribee? What's that message that you would like to communicate to them around that image of Werribee that they probably think but is also incorrect?
I don't know that I want to tell them much, really, because
It's a secret and you want to keep it to your own,
right.
to yourself.
Exactly.
Monika, there's something interesting going on at the top of those goalposts. What is it? What are they?
So the goalposts are hollow, and at the top there are vents. And the idea was that the goalposts acted as vents for any odour that would be underground, that would leak in from the
Is that right?
land and grass filtration paddocks.
Right, so it's a home ground advantage.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I imagine the local team would have known to kick straight as well.
Or to hit it to
True.
move the odour.
Right. How fascinating is that? Talk to me about the local sporting clubs that were out here, because they were quite good, weren't they?
They were. So from the from the early 1900s, there was a men's football team. There was also croquet being played, and tennis and cricket. And the Metropolitan Sewerage Farm had their own teams. And so the men's football team was quite successful, won various premierships over the years. That's the original sports pavilion where they change, and the toilet is still out the back there. They folded in 1965 with two other local teams, and it became the Werribee Football Club.
So you've been a local for 40 years. You would have seen the area grow a lot in that time. I reckon this is a bit of a reference point, isn't it? It's kind of just creeping in, getting a bit tighter, getting a bit scarier. Is population a concern for you as a local? Is it spiralling out of control?
It's a concern. I don't know that it's spiralling out of control, but it is a concern because, countless thousands of people have to drive to work. And a 30-minute trip can take an hour and a half one way. So that becomes quite frustrating.
But it's not to a degree where you're considering moving, you want something quieter, you're okay with it, but you just acknowledge that something's got to give.
Where I live is quiet. It's the old part of Werribee, so it is quiet. I don't know that I would like to live anywhere else around Werribee. It becomes too busy, especially when you have to get through bottlenecks.
Population growth gives you the good stuff, different cultures, diverse people, and epic food experiences. But that means sweet FA when you're sitting in a peak hour traffic jam just trying to get home. Real estate agent Prashant Tandon thinks Wyndham's roads are more backed up than Melbourne's waterways in 1851. He started a Change.org petition to raise awareness of this issue and help get funding to upgrade the C109 exit near Riverwalk Estate.
So talk me through where we are, because it is peak hour and it's busy. What's going on?
We are on Farm Road, just on the bridge at Riverwalk Estate. That's the exit, C109.
That is building up already, and it's not even 4 o'clock at the moment. So that's not even the main part of peak hour, right?
That's right. It's a 100 zone. You can see 60 to 75 cars right now.
Yep.
And everyone's parking. That's an emergency lane.
Yep. So it's an emergency lane. So yes, theoretically shouldn't happen. But what other option is there?
Well, the option is to either widen the roads, get traffic lights, or stop building, get some infrastructure.
At its peak, how long is that line going to be?
About 1.5 to 2 kilometers just behind the bridge at the back.
Okay, so city down that way, obviously people coming home, slug their guts out 9 to 5, just want to see the family and friends, sit on the couch, have a beer, whatever it is.
Well, we talk about life-work balance here.
Yeah.
The balance is to live.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if that's at its highest, that's 1.5 Ks long. In terms of a time frame, how long is that taking to get through that?
Half an hour to 45 minutes at least. Just sitting there, calling your good luck here that you don't get hit.
Yep.
If a truck comes in, knocks 10 cars, there'll be 10 families without a dad or mom.
Yep.
And that will be a very sad day.
Tragic.
And we'll go there with the candles, but we'll forget that we didn't do anything.
Yeah. For the people who are in that queue, what are you hearing from them? I mean, you're a real estate agent, you're connected to the community.
They're tired. I've got a petition, 1,200 people have signed. They are working moms and dads, wanting to go back home, spend time with their kids, but they are stuck here and nothing's being done. All we see is houses, but no infrastructure, no roads, no safety.
So does another lane and traffic lights solve the problem, or does it just improve it a little?
It won't improve it. They've got to work the logistics, have to look at the numbers, the number of cars, but you can't have people here. With our current population, which should be manageable, we've got smart people, we've got the infrastructure, we've got the money.
1,200 people have signed your petition.
Yes.
Are you confident that that's going to get into the right hands of government and things will change?
Well, I hope they listen and they should do something about it. This has been going on for 5 years now.
Yeah. Is population growth out of control here?
Well, Wyndham is the fastest, most affordable place to live. People call it home. But what will a home be if your parents are not around?
Yeah, true.
They'll be sad.
Yeah.
So all we are saying is just get something happening.
I'm to play devil's advocate here.
Yes.
You're a real estate agent. You make money by these people coming to town by buying properties over to my right here.
Yes.
That's good for your business.
It is.
So talk me through that, because you want people coming to this area, theoretically, right?
Well, you want people who are alive and kicking and they can call it home. If someone had asked me the question, Prashant, I'm living here and I'm doing a 9-to-5 job driving, my first suggestion is the freeway. It's going to be a tough call.
Yeah. So you would be honest with people who are looking at us there and say, this is what you're going to battle?
That's right.
2K. The median house price in Werribee is $615,000, so it's easy to see why it's popular. But detractors will tell you it's too far away and it smells. It doesn't smell, and too far away from what? If your life, your family and friends are in the area, it's got everything that you need. It's true there are some infrastructure challenges, but the real selling point is nature. The Werribee River, the Gorge and Werribee South Beach are all on your doorstep. And while inner city suburbs are hell-bent on developing high-rise concrete jungles to capitalise on limited space, this area, despite the population growth, doesn't feel overly crowded just yet. So if politics can keep pace with progression, it's only going to get better out here.